at 45.5. 45,500 for that 64 Corvette. And John, Stephen, Bill, everybody, let's look on the other side of the block to a Corvette L88 coming on.
Well, significant Corvette history continues. L88 are magic letters and numbers, and they equal dominance in the mid to late 1960s from Chevrolet in the Corvette, particularly in sports car racing, SCCA racing, and this car is the real deal. Totally ironclad documentation, raced in many SCCA events, 1972 and 1976.
What was that you said, John? I couldn't quite hear you for a minute.
Nothing better than the rumble of a big block Chevy, guys.
And what an entrance. What an entrance. Bill?
Well, you know, you heard the engine, and that's a thrill. But what's really a thrill is to go to a racetrack. I can remember doing that about 40 years ago and seeing an entire lineup of 8 production big block race cars on the starting grid and then taking the green flag. And just take the sound you heard a few moments ago and multiply that by 20 or 30, and I'll tell you, you'll get terminal goosebumps. This is a 69 L88. The L88, probably the most chimerical engine in Chevrolet history. Not many were built. They were strictly racing engines. They were never intended to go on the street. And what's interesting about that is some people back in the 60s bought these L88s, put them on the street, but they didn't rule the street. These were racing engines, and down low they really didn't have as much immediacy as some of the other big block engines of the time. These were the engines where you took them to the racetrack, particularly sports car racing, particularly at tracks where there were long straightaways. And I got to tell you something, the Corvettes maybe didn't handle as well as some of the other cars out there, but when they got at the top of the straightaway and there were cars ahead of them, they would gobble them up like crumbs on a carpet with a vacuum cleaner going out of its mind. I mean, these things were just scary fast.
All right, let's take a listen on the podium here.
1969 as an L88, only one car from the original owner specified he did not want heavy-duty brakes, and this is the one of one. So it's a really neat car, great provenance. Reviewed all the documentation. It is what it is, and best of luck with everybody.
Somebody get $500,000. Anybody get 500. $500,000. Anybody get 500. Anybody get 5. Anybody get 5. Anybody get 5. Anybody get $500,000. Anybody get 5. Anybody get 400. Somebody get $400,000. Anybody get 4. Anybody get 4. Anybody get 3.
Interesting presentation. Take a look under the hood there, Scott. That engine has got a lot of modern componentry in it, and that's not a negative or disadvantage with this car. Here's why. This car is currently equipped and upgraded to be able to participate in SVRA, vintage current road racing.
Yep.
And some of the equipment that you're seeing on the braided steel lines, the engine breather system, updated ignition system, and other items is items to make this car competitive and also safe within that racing environment. This is a vintage piece of racing history that can actually go out on the racetrack today and compete competitively.
We're at
exactly
$270,000 on this bid, Bill.
You're right about the engine, John. No doubt about it. They have not added a lot of really high-tech pieces to the engine other than the ones that you mentioned. It still has a regular production distributor. It doesn't have one of those transistorized or high-energy MSD-type transistorized ignitions in it. It's got a regular coil on it. And this motor, conservatively, has got to be making at least 600 to 650 horsepower the way that it sits.
Well, and bidding already escalated to $300,000. So probably not done yet. Another great example of a historic, significant race-era Corvette. Wow.
At $300,000, if this one sells, it will be our #2 seller of the day.
You're never going to see another L88 for 300 grand, ever.
Start it up again. Drive it over to the
305.
Well, it's going to start again.
There we go. We are not done bidding yet.
They're going to start it up, so everybody hang on to their bloomers, because this is going to be a rock concert like you can't believe.
Promise, promise.
Oh, yeah.
305,000 and the reserves off.
There we go. And that's how it's done. The deal maker strikes again.
310, 305, 310.
You saw that sticker slapped onto the front windshield. It's going to sell today. It will be our #2 seller.
305, 310.
the Camel GT series. It ran the 12 Hours of Sebring, and it's not impossible that this car will be back out on the racetrack. It's capable of it right now. And some of these vintage racer guys, you know, just sold for what, $305,000, and they'll take that 300 grand out, they'll risk it, and they'll put it out on the racetrack, which frankly I think is fantastic. Yep.
And boy, I tell you what, if you had the home theater cranked up at home, you could feel that car.
There's the new owner. That is Tom Abrams, Reliable Transport, the top collectible car transport company on the planet. And he's adding that to his stable. He's got some of the most significant muscle era cars in the world today.